Here yet. Well, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Little Tweaks, Giant Wins. I am your hostess, Jill Underwood. Today, I am so thrilled to have Kellen Vaughan with me from Texas. Kellen, welcome to my show.
Yeehaw. Yes. Excited to be here. I figured I'd throw a little Texas twang in there.
Well, everybody needs some Texas twang, right? Now,
Well,
you
you're
know,
you're a
I,
native Texan.
I am originally from
That's right.
Plano, Texas. Yes, I
Yeah.
am. And then migrated to the Kansas City area a number of decades ago. So,
Well, you're welcome back to the Lone Star State anytime you want.
oh, I'm stoked. And something about Billy Bob's is in my future.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to be there. When is that? December 4th, we'll be at Billy Bob's. It'll be great.
I got my sparkly boots ready to go, baby.
Perfect. Well, we're excited about that. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. What an honor.
Well, bless you and thank you for being here. The honor is all mine.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I understand that you mentioned you had some questions for me as we were kind of talking before the show. So I'm ready to go, I think.
Well, here's the first thing that I want to share with you. So, my journalistic background that I have, I researched you a little bit. And frankly, I didn't find a lot of things about you personally on social media. And now you're out there business wise,
Mhm.
but I think I may have found like one photo of you and your wife and kids. But I just, that's contrary to everything that they are teaching us right now. They're teaching us that we have to be out there and personally and be your authentic self and blah, 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 blah. Right. So, what's your strategy, dude? Because I couldn't find much about you personally.
Well, that means the witness protection program is working in full effect. No, no, I wish it was something like that. The truth is I'm just not a big time poster. Let me say that. Let me clarify that. A poster on social media. Now I comment on things, and business wise, we post some things, and that's where we generate a lot of stuff. But personally, I've been a little, oh gosh, deficient in probably doing that. And it's just not. I'm a pretty private person by nature, so it's a little bit
Mhm,
hard for me. But
mhm.
it's funny because and I love the title of your podcast. I think that's a great title,
Thank
and
you.
so I hope people listening to this kind of read between the lines here. But so what I've done, because so let's call that a deficiency in my business, right? Like that's an area, it's a blind spot. It's an area where I know I need to do better. I know that I need to increase those postings. So I've actually, in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, about a month, hired a gal to come on, kind of as we're kind of calling her like a brand ambassador, right?
Ooh.
So her role is to promote our mortgage team via social media, getting us, in front of agents, in front of realty groups to do presentations, because I enjoy doing all of that stuff, right? I enjoy speaking in front of people and doing all that. But we get busy in our day to day, and a
Mhm.
lot of things are coming at us, and so it's hard to carve out time to go find that next opportunity. So that's her role. That's her role in our team. And you and I were kind of joking a few minutes before this call, but I've probably posted more, or she has posted more on my Instagram in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 5 years. So yeah, pretty exciting. We're hoping to fix that, Jill. So stay tuned. You may see some more posts from me.
Well, and I may need her name and number. I actually had a gal in my office earlier today, and I'm putting the word out because I totally need help with that too.
Yep.
Because I was raised in Plano, Texas, as you know. And, every time you left the house, mom said, don't tell all the family secrets. We were raised to be private and not share all of your, secrets
Yeah.
with the world. And that's why they called it a diary and not, a book for all the world to see. Right.
You're exactly right, and it's one of those things that you got to be kind of careful about what you post these days, and everybody has to be a little sensitive about it. But I've got to be better at doing that, because the truth is that my referral partners want to see that, and people want to see it, and so it's kind of one of those things, again, if you're kind of talking about, what you said, hey, small changes, big results, right?
Yep.
Like that's a small change that will yield big result for me. I just have to recognize that it's something that I'm not great at. And so what did I do? I hired somebody to fix that for me. Right.
Yep.
And so, we'll see. I've already gotten, just from the couple of weeks that we've been doing it, we've already gotten a ton of traffic and people commenting and things. So, we'll see where it goes from here.
Well, and the interesting thing that I've learned about socials that blows my mind is how many people are watching,
Mm,
even though they don't click the like or they don't comment, they're still watching. We are being
absolutely.
watched everywhere. So,
Yes. And even, I had somebody text me this weekend, actually, a good buddy of mine that I hadn't chatted with in, I don't know, probably several years, and just happened to text me this weekend and said, hey, saw your post. Definitely need to refinance. Let's talk. Right. And it works. Listen, you don't have to convince me it works. I just was derelict in not doing it. So we've righted the ship, and we're going to make this thing happen.
I love it. So tell me, what are you passionate about right now?
Hmm. Business or personal wise,
Oh,
or
let's
just
go
in
personal.
personal? Oh man, I'll tell you, right now. So I've got, so I actually have four boys. Not a lot of people know that. So I have four
Uh,
boys, and, man, they're 10, 8, 6 and 2.
oh,
And
wow.
so, man, I'm passionate about seeing these guys. And so I'm, I'm spending my time, especially with my older two, they're doing a lot of sports. We're kind of a baseball family. It seems to be kind of the route that we're going. But, so spending a lot of time, coaching them and, just trying to get them to see things, I think, a little different than maybe the world wants them to see things. So I'm passionate about just pouring into them and being a big part of their life. I grew up in a single parent household. So it was my mom and I for the better part of 12 to 14 years. And so, I didn't have that. I didn't have a lot of that in my life. And so, my goal is to be there and be present and really pour into them. So yeah, that's it from a personal
And they
standpoint.
need that, man. Boys, that I think all kids need a mom and a dad, but daddy is so important and such a huge role. So bless you for doing that. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Listen, it's an honor to be their dad. And, anyway, if I get going too much, I'll get misty eyed here, but,
You're glowing
know,
already.
that's right. Business wise, boy, that's a great question too. And I'll tell you, my passion honestly is within our coaching community. I mean, we've seen so much growth there in the last, 12 months. And, it has been a absolute labor of love. It's a lot of people probably think, oh man, these guys make so much money doing this coaching thing. I can promise you that's not the case. But what I'll tell you what drives us and what makes us passionate and keeps our kind of flame going is when people come up to us, at events and they go, you guys don't know it, but I listened to a podcast or I attended an event and it changed my life. And people say that, and it's certainly not me. It's not Ken or Shane. It's just, I think, the environment that we create. But they go, man, you guys showed me a different way to see something. You taught me that there's a better way. You said I don't have to work 80 hours a week. And I adjusted it, and now my marriage is better, and my kids know who I am. And it's just, people fill our buckets with that, with those kind words. And I'll tell you, it just drives us and keeps us moving forward. So I'm super passionate about where Next Level's headed, our coaching group, and excited to see what next year is going to bring.
I love it. I will say I followed your Next Level Loan Officer, and for other listeners, it's Next Level Loan Officer Coaching Program.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all founded that, and I have followed y'all since before you took off and did Next Level. I
Yeah,
mean, we go way back to that other coaching group
that's
day,
right.
right?
That's right. That's right. Well, you saw us. Was it me that you saw at an event?
Well, all of you.
All
I
of us?
actually
Yep.
went to a couple of, the Friday events before I actually joined the mastermind group. And
Hmm.
actually this event coming up is the first mastermind group on the weekend that I've ever attended. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But the reason why I think I've followed y'all for so long and then decided to join forces is because y'all are so real and so authentic
Mm,
and you're in the trenches every day. I mean, it's tough.
it
This
is.
job is tough being on the
Yep.
front lines. I mean, I get beat up and, just in solving problems of the world all the time, every day. And so many things happen on these real estate transactions these days, right? There's
Mhm.
so many things that can go wrong. And it's tough being on the front lines and in the trenches. And you guys are out there with me.
Yep.
And the things that you are teaching are real time right here, right now.
Yep. Well, and that was the big driver for us. Back in 2017, when we created Next Level, the big driver was we wanted a coaching platform that was for loan officers by loan officers. And it didn't exist. Some of the ones that we were associated with, they hadn't originated loans in 10 or 15 years. And my goodness, at the, where we are today, if you haven't originated a loan in the last 5 years, you might as well have never originated a loan.
Yep.
And then you think about them, that was even pre '08. And, it's a totally different world.
It's a whole new world.
It changes so quickly, and it's just crazy. I mean, you think back even just from a market standpoint, where we were 6 months ago and then 12 months before that. I mean, you can just see these shifts. I mean, they happen, very quickly. They're not all bad, but they just happen very quickly. And you, as a loan officer, have to be in a position where you're ready to pivot and you're ready to move and adapt and change your business. And if you're not doing that, then you just get left behind.
And I think we're in a shift right now. Can
We
you
are.
feel it?
I
We
do.
are in this shift and it's even next year is going to be completely different. So I'm gearing up, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there is a shift. You can feel it right now. We've been, and really at Next Level, we've been talking about this for 6 or 8 months now. We've said, hey, time and time again, hey, everybody, this is coming. This is coming. Prepare, prepare. These are what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be doing. So hopefully, as a Next Level loan officer, you're equipped to adapt to this. But yeah, I mean, you're going to see, I feel like in next year, you're going to see your refinance business, drop pretty significantly. I think it'll still be there. There'll still be a
It's
good,
always still there because
it's
people
always
get
going to be
divorced.
there, but it's not going to be, I mean, there were points over the last 12 months where we were practically turning business away because it was like we just physically could not take on any more deals. I don't think we're going to be back there, unfortunately, but I love a good purchase market too, because,
Absolutely.
you talk about if you're a true LO and you're a professional and you are excellent in your business, it's time to build market share. And
Absolutely.
these other guys will fly, they'll go to the wayside as soon as the low hanging fruit goes away.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay, so
Yeah.
you are a coach
I
of
am.
loan officers, realtors too,
Nope. We just do loan officers right
just
now.
loan
Yep.
officers only.
Yep.
So where do you get coached? How do you keep your fire burning?
Yeah, boy, that's great. So, as a group, Shane, Ken, Sean, and I, not only we get together periodically to hold each other accountable. So we kind of have a little internal deal where we meet about every 6 months, and we really kind of push on things that we're like, hey, we need to do this, we need to grow here, we need to do this. And typically during those sessions, we bring in outside people to help us drive some of that. So, Satima Gali is a guy that's been a part of our group for a long time. If you know
I
Satima,
love him. I need to meet
yes,
him someday.
he would,
I've seen him speak twice
yeah,
recently, and he's fantastic and so much energy. I love him.
he's phenomenal. We brought him to Scottsdale.
I
Uh,
missed it. I was
I
not able
know.
to go.
That was the first time he had spoken at a live event of ours, but never at a mastermind. That was the first one. But we'll connect with him. He's a guy that has been very influential, in our business. David Goggins is a guy that's been kind of on the tertiary part of advising us too. And there are some other just kind of industry folks who've just been around a while. And, we lean on those guys to kind of help coach us, push us, make us better. And then I'll tell you too, and this sounds kind of funny, but we feed a lot of energy from our group as a whole, right? We go to these mastermind events and I walk away more energized. I walk away with a deeper passion. I walk away with new strategies to implement. So, we get fed at the same time that we're kind of helping facilitate everybody else too.
I love that. That's so true. That when you get all of that energy in one room and all of those amazing people that are sharing
Yeah.
on a level of, because this is what I see in this group, they're sharing on a level of abundance,
Yes.
not scarcity. Right. It's okay. Everybody's like, yeah, I will absolutely share my ideas with you. And I think that that's such an amazing feature of the group as well. So,
and that's a core value of ours, right? Is to always come from a place of abundance. Listen, there's plenty of loans out here for everybody, and Ken and I have often joked, he and I literally, I'm here in Keller, Texas. He had a few loan officers here, and this is no lie, literally put an office 7 steps down the hall from my office. And he asked me, hey man, we're looking at this space. Do you mind? And I said, of course not. Be my guest. And of course they did. And you know what? I tell people to this day, I'm like, I never crossed paths with them. I never was competing with them on a deal. We never chased over the same realtor. The reality is that market's so big. So, I tell that story when I have, there's people in the group and they're like, well, I live in Houston and I don't want to share my ideas. And I go, there's 7 million people in Houston. You're good.
Yeah.
So we always come from a place of abundance. We'll always, learn more that way. And that's been just a core value of our group since day one.
I'm so glad that you brought up the term core values, because that's one of the things that's on my list. So core value of abundance. Anything else on your core value list, personally and or professionally?
Yeah. I mean, professionally for sure. If you look at my team and kind of the way that we approach things, I would say our big ones are a huge core value of honesty and communication. I know those are a little cliched in some regards, but the truth is we've heard so many times, and I'm sure you have as well, the number one complaint from realtors is I wasn't properly communicated with, right?
Amen. Yep.
And the number one complaint from a lot of customers is, well, I didn't feel like they were very honest about X, Y, and Z, whether it was the loan scenario, why they got declined, why they had to do something, a fee, a charge, cash to close, whatever the case is. The customer is always a little leery. So we pride ourselves on, one, communicating at an above average level, right? So we really over communicate for the most part, both to the listing agent, the realtors, and the client. And secondly, from an honesty perspective, my dad has a saying that no problem gets better with time. And, that was, I think, something a lot of loan officers struggle with, is they kind of bury their head in the sand when something goes south. And we just decided, early on in this business that we were just going to be open and honest. And if that meant that the client got angry or we lost a realtor relationship or whatever the case was, that was worth it to, hold up that pillar and say, listen, we're just going to be honest with you about what's going on. Whether that's we drop the ball, somebody else dropped the ball, we're just going to tell it like it is. And I'll tell you, it has saved us more times than it has hurt us. And that goes absolutely without saying. And most people, when you come at them honestly, and compassionately, they forgive you, and that's what we've learned over the years. We're not perfect, right? We make mistakes, so
Everybody does. But the thing about problems, what I have found is whatever we're thinking in our head of, oh, holy crap, I don't know how this is going to go. This is going to be really, really bad. All of that is made up crap in your head. If you just open it up and talk about the problem that you're having on the loan, when you put your heads together, there's a solution
yep,
because somebody else always knows something that I don't know. And once we just talk it over, there's a solution to everything.
that's right.
There
And
really is.
and the customer appreciates that. You
Mhm.
know, thank you for telling me what the issue was and not just, beating around the bush or not being forthcoming or trying to solve it without me knowing. I think that's something too a lot of loan officers do is they're like, "Well, I'm just going to try and fix this problem before they even know about it." Well, okay, but if you don't, then you're in a real pickle, And so anyway, those are just, when I think about those core values, it's kind of like, man, we talk about those two things with my team on our weekly calls all the time. I mean, all the time, because we'll be sitting there saying, well, what do we need to do about, X, Y, and Z? And we go, well, you're just going to have an open and honest conversation with them. So those are practical things that truly do happen to us on a daily basis.
I love it. So let me ask you this. We all have failures and frustrations. We all have celebrations. Tell me something that's been a huge, let's start with frustration for you. And then we'll go into something that was a huge celebration for you.
Man, a huge frustration,
Or maybe a huge failure,
yeah.
something bad that you had to recover from.
Well, I can tell you, this is a story I tell sometimes at our events. I'm not sure when the last time I told the story, but I almost exited the mortgage business.
Oh,
Yeah. So in 2015, I'd been in for about 3 years and I was really struggling, to the point of, so I'd had a really good W-2 job before that, and I was able to kind of put some money away and make this jump. I thought, man, the mortgage business sounded really interesting. And, but I was struggling. I mean, it was really bad. And to the point where, my wife was kind of like, hey, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? We can't go on. And I, so I was about to quit. I was about to just hang it up and do something different, but I really believed in it. I really believed in the mortgage industry. But I was about done. And I'll tell you, and I do give credit to him. I try not to because he gets a big head on it, but, Kenneth Travis probably saved that career for me. Shockingly, you can ask him if he's a guest on your podcast. You can ask him about this, but I reached out to him. I actually heard him on a advertisement or a podcast or something, and he was in Texas, and so I reached out to him and I just said, "Hey, man, I need some help. You're obviously super successful. Would you mind kind of helping me out?" And he did, and he got me introduced to some people, and forever changed the course of my mortgage business. So I do owe a lot to him. But that was I remember that being a very dark time, and I'm glad I'm not there anymore. So
but you know what?
victory,
Yeah, that's a huge victory. And what a great lesson because you reached out for help. And
yeah,
and I will say that's one thing that I struggle with. I struggle with
mm,
asking for help, but look at what happens when you do.
yeah, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, and it was one of those things too that it didn't take much, right? Like I wasn't. If you've ever seen that book, and I forget what it's called, Mining for Diamonds or something, and the guy's got the pickaxe and he's going along, but he stops and walks away, but he's like 2 inches from the diamond or from gold. And it was like that. It was like, man, I was close, but I needed a few tweaks in my business to really get it going. And I was just shy of that. I just hadn't quite figured out those few things. And he really kind of poured into me and helped me kind of see that. And that's what I would say to anybody listening to your point. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. The chances are, if you're feeling that same way, a few little things, a few little tweaks in your process can make all the difference in the world. So yeah, reach out to somebody, sign up for coaching, do whatever it takes, but you can get there.
Absolutely. Okay, so that was a frustration. Tell me about a really wonderful, amazing celebration that you've
Mm.
had in your career, in your life.
In my career, um, boy, that's tough. There are so many.
Ah,
We've
so
well,
many. That's a
I
good answer.
I just mean we have a say we have a saying around my office, which is we celebrate the wins and sometimes we celebrate them several times. To your point, wins are hard to come by sometimes in the mortgage industry, right? It's a frustrating business, so we like to celebrate a lot. I can tell you this: one of my biggest business victories, if I'm thinking about it today, is the team that I have around me. All of them have been with me for over 5 years.
Oh, wow.
So I'm forever grateful to their loyalty. We have built an amazing team. I know it's challenging for folks right now to find amazing key players for their team, and that can be a real sense of frustration and can hold people from getting what they want. But the team we've got around us, it's small but mighty, and they've been with me, like I said, at least all of them, at least 5 years. And so, that's a huge victory for me, just being able to rely on them, and they're the reason we have the success that we do.
It takes a village, doesn't it? It's all
Oh,
about the team.
if
I
nothing,
will say,
just to keep us sane, right?
yes, absolutely. And I gotta say, every time I get one of those surveys back and the testimonial, just not the testimonial, but the survey back, because my company sends one to every closed loan. And every time when one comes back, man, it gets forwarded to the team because it's
Yeah.
not me. No, no, no,
No.
it's
Mm.
them. And I include the underwriter and the closer and the processor. Man, it's all about the people behind you
Yes.
because it does take a village to get people in houses these days. It does.
It does. It is not an easy feat. There's a lot of emotion.
Hmm.
There's a lot of technical aspects of it too. You've got to be thick-skinned and you got to be smart. It's not easy. It's not, and I'll tell you too, and not a lot of people think about this, but it's a very emotional time for people, right? Whether they're buying or refinancing. You're talking, especially buying though. You're talking about I just went through and bought a house in July. We moved, and I hadn't been through that process since 2011. So, I
Mm.
got a taste of my own medicine here. And it was interesting, it's like you realize where that stress comes from. And oh man, we had moving trucks and all of these different things that were happening. And of course, you're seeing dollars just flying out of your pocket. And, that can be a very, very stressful situation for a lot of people. So I've had many customers that have, probably not been the best version of themselves, during the process. And then they come back to us and, oh, I'm so sorry. You guys were amazing. And we were just stressed and this. And I say, listen, I never judge anybody
Mm-mm.
by how they are during the mortgage process, because it is not for the faint of heart. So, but yes, those reviews are phenomenal and, always a great source of inspiration for us.
Yeah. And even, last year during COVID, we would just, and we were busier than ever, right? And sometimes you would pick up the phone, and I had back then, we had my assistant like sitting right here next to me,
Mm-hmm.
and he would like pick up the phone and call somebody, and they would just scream at him or just like
Yeah.
spew something. And and then we would find out, well, their dad just died of COVID or
Right.
something bad happened. And so I stopped my team and I said, okay, you guys, we have to be so sensitive. We have no idea what they're going through. In
Right.
addition to buying a house,
Right.
there are people around them were getting sick and
They
dying,
were
and you never know
scared,
who just got,
people were scared.
yeah,
Yeah.
who just got cancer, and the
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty that goes with buying a house it's really emotional. Magnify that by throwing in, oh, and by the way, yeah, we're about to file for divorce after this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Sure.
tough
It
to
is.
buy and sell, and to buy and sell at the same time. In my mind, I think it's tougher to be a seller than to be a buyer. I really do.
Well, I made the comment to my wife. I said, I'm good on buying another house for at least 10 or 15 years after, going through this one. And honestly, we had a very easy experience, but still it's just, even an easy experience is a process. And,
It is.
I think the biggest lesson loan officers can learn from that is, just to be empathetic towards those customers. And to your point, you don't know what's going on the other side of the phone. It's generally not you personally. It's just the situation.
Yeah. You never know what somebody's going through.
That's it.
That's for sure.
That's
All
it.
right. So tell me, let's finish it off with this. There's a lot of loan officers out there that are new to the business.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people out there that are asking me how to get into this business, even just sales in general.
Sure.
What would you say to someone getting in either the mortgage business or just sales business in general? What
Mhm.
can you share? Something that you've learned over your career to help them, especially along the lines of little tweaks that can create giant wins done consistently over time.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So I'll tell you this. This is the advice I always give to either loan officers or anybody. And I was in sales in a prior role, just different, just not the mortgage industry. And I always, I felt like I always won by knowing the information and the product inside and out better than anyone. And I'll tell you right now, I think in the mortgage industry where you can win, even if you're a new loan officer, is by understanding your product, understanding the ins and outs of these loans. We can, Jill, I know you're a professional. You and I can run laps around Rocket Mortgage, Quicken, and any of those guys that got a headset on sitting in a
Yeah.
cubicle,
Amen.
as an advisor, right? And so I would say, listen, if speaking specifically to the mortgage industry, if you're coming in the mortgage industry, the first thing is to just stick your nose in a book and understand the guidelines. We used to have these, I think they're called MRI books. I don't know if they still have them.
This.
Oh, there they are. Yep.
Here it is.
There it is. So that's what I'm saying. We're
At my
professional.
fingertips every day.
I've got one over there on the other thing, and mine's from fall of 2014. But the reality is when I got in the mortgage business, I didn't know anything. I came in cold turkey and started as a broker. I didn't start with a big company. Literally, the account executive for Franklin American helped me close my first loan.
Oh, wow.
But the only way I figured out how to do it and understand the guidelines and then grow and outsell was I would fall asleep at night with the Fannie Mae MRI book in my hands,
There you
and
go.
I'm learning about gift funds and border income. Oh, wow. Okay. And all of these different things so that when the scenario ever came to me, I knew enough about it to speak intelligently about it and problem solve it. And I think that was the biggest thing for me in the mortgage industry in terms of being successful. So you don't have to be the smartest person by any means. I'm certainly not. I just spent the time to go in and read and understand the guidelines and just knew my product inside and out. And I would really say that, that's a pretty universal thing. I think whether you're, doing mortgages or insurance or whatever your sales field is, you can just know that stuff inside and out and really be a great resource for your customers. And they'll understand that and they'll see you as that expert authority and they'll trust you to make that purchase.
I absolutely love that advice because I believe in that as well. And I have seen, some coaching programs that teach them just to go out and, make the phone calls and
Right.
do a bunch of cold calls and bring in a loan. But when you bring in that loan and you don't have any idea how to put it together, and then it's 2 days before closing and an underwriter rejects it, that's a bad place to be. And I just do not ever, ever want that to happen to my clients. That's for sure.
No, it goes back to what we were just talking about with stress on the clients, creating those, and it creates a bad name for the industry and creates unnecessary things. We don't like fire drills around our office. And, you can really, even if you looked at our pipeline, I don't know that, in the last 12 months, we maybe had one file that we submitted to underwriting that didn't, got suspended or wasn't able to go, get pushed all the way through. And again, that's just a testament to a good team that understands what goes into a loan to make it work.
Yeah, I agree completely. All
Yeah,
right.
great
Any
question.
final words of wisdom or anything that we haven't talked about that you want to share?
Oh goodness. Well, Listen, I'll say this, and I don't know, your audience, if it's a lot of loan officers or not, but you had mentioned earlier that you get people asking about the mortgage industry. I can tell you that I believe personally that it's one of the best places, to earn a living, and I say that for, there's a lot of us out there, you yourself included, Joe, who again are true professionals and have built a career out of it, and it's just so rewarding. I just absolutely, I love it, and there are a lot of areas where you can go work and be very successful. I'm personally passionate about the mortgage industry. I think there's a great opportunity. I've seen people who come in to work for us that were new to the business, and they're now closing very high six-figure incomes. And, that's life-changing stuff for people. So, again, I'll just speak to the folks who may be looking for a career change or thinking about something else. They can run with that.
Absolutely. And my goal with that is I'm so passionate that we have to teach this next generation how to do this business the right way,
Yeah.
which is truly to be the advisor and to be committed for the long term with our clients and sustain a 30 or 40-year career. So
Absolutely.
that's what I'm going to be teaching.
I
So
love that. Yeah. And they can do that. I mean, that's not unfathomable. And, you can get to a point where you build up a nice business and then it just builds on itself and continues to feed you for many, many years. And we get paid, very well as loan originators. And so I'm blessed to be in this business and to have kind of fallen into it and fortunately stuck with it. And it's certainly, been a blessing for my family.
I love that. I love it. And there's just nothing more rewarding than seeing that first time home buyer
Yeah.
at closing, getting the keys, jumping up and down,
That's it.
smiling from ear to ear. It warms my heart every single time.
Jill, and you think about those folks, and I'll give you an example. Down here in DFW, we've seen 18% appreciation in the last, 12 to
Mhm.
16 months, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen that up there as well. You think about that first time homebuyer family that was struggling to put together maybe that down payment, 3.5, maybe they even did a down payment assistance. And now they've got 20% equity in their property,
Yep.
right? And they've paid down their mortgage, so they've got maybe a little bit more. Maybe they've got 25% equity. They could refinance that into a conventional loan, pay it down even more. And now in a couple of years, when they go to sell that house, they've got 40 or 50, maybe $100,000 worth of equity that they can use to go buy the next home, to put a kid through college, to do whatever they want with. This is generational change for people. There are a lot of folks that we do business with that they're the first ones in their family to own a home, and they're going to build on that equity and that appreciation, and it will forever change their life. So it's to your point, it's awesome to be a part of that process.
It really is. I love that. You are such a fabulous coach and mentor and example for all of us.
Thank
Tell
you.
everyone who's listening where they can follow you on your socials and how they can reach out to Next Level.
Yeah. So if you're a loan officer and you want to be part of it, I'm a little biased, but I'll say just an awesome community of people. You can check us out at becomenl.com. And listen, it's super simple. We charge $197 a month. And you get to be a part of our great community. We get together 3 or 4 times a year. We'll be in Fort Worth, Texas, as we were talking about earlier, December 4th and 5th. So it'll be a great time. And anyway, it's a great community of people. If you want to follow me, you can check out I'll give you my Instagram, which is at DFW_mortgage. And I'll be there. I'll be posting away on my reels and videos and everything else.
No,
So
your assistant, your branding assistant will be posting.
that's right. Well, yes, the illusion is that I'll be doing it, but yes, you're exactly right. That's exactly right. So, but thank you, Jill. What an honor again to be on your show. I appreciate everything that you do for our loan officer community as well.
Well, thank you. No, the honor is all mine. Thank you so much for being here. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I so appreciate this. Follow Kellen, look up Next Level Loan Officer. If you are a loan officer or interested in getting in the mortgage business, Kellen, you have just been a delight. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you again, Jill.
All right, everyone, take care. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.